All right, everybody, welcome back into the MPGL Asian Championships for 2018. We are here with day one action for the group stages. Our second series of the day, it is Signify versus Boom ID. Our first series, pretty good stuff. Clutch Gamers, it felt like they had it in the bag since game one, but it was rather closer than I thought it was going to be, and I'm hoping for the same here between these two teams. Boom ID, a team that we see a lot of. I personally have cast a lot of this team. Very good team. Probably pretty underrated, I think, in the SEA region. Signify, a team that I'm getting to cast for the first time, is an all-Indian squad, which is not something we see that much of. In fact, really, there's rarely that many Indian players in general, at least from the actual country of India, Jenkins. It's kind of crazy, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely not something you see every day, although according to their Dota buff, which, I mean, Dota buff has definitely been wrong on occasion, they have not played in quite a while, at least under this
tag.
team.
Yeah.
This tag. Yeah, so perhaps... I think you said that they played in open qualifiers or something like that?
Yeah, they played in the China Super Major qualifiers. At least Swifty did. I don't know if the rest of them played as part of Signify. And in the open qualifiers, they got 5th to 8th, which is, I think they didn't... they got bounced during the quarterfinals, I believe is what that means.
Which can happen. That can happen even with like really strong teams. You can run into like in open qualifiers you can like run into the one other team that is just like super super good, or maybe there's like 2 or 3 if it's like a really stacked open qualifier, and you can just get unlucky. Oh, they're also like they're pretty brutal. So we'll see. Getting 5th to 8th is still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, open qualifiers are not easy. I think especially in the SEA region, and I think partly because the amount of tier 2 to like tier 2.5 talent that there is in Southeast Asia is kind of ridiculous. I mean, just some of these teams in this particular tournament alone, Clutch Gamers kind of tier 1.5, Boom ID, Taskus Titans, another kind of big name, Execration, Geek Fam, the Prime NND. There's a lot of different teams out there in the Southeast Asian region that I've seen personally have flashes of brilliance. It's not an easy region to get through, especially when you're coming in from a country in India that doesn't really have that big of an esports, or at least from what I know. I don't want to make any assumptions, but you don't think of India as a big esports region, and I might be wrong about that, but it just seems like this might be the exact competition they're looking for in this particular tournament to get them some more skill.
I'm pretty sure that they don't have a good esports infrastructure. The only reason that I know that, or that I think I know that, is because there's a dude in NA that is Indian, and he goes back and forth, and he says that it's not great there.
Yeah. Which, that's unfortunate. I think it's a country that, I'm not sure how the infrastructure is in terms of the internet, but that's a big reason why a lot of these countries can't...
Probably better than ours, to be honest.
That's fair. Yeah, America and Canada have not really been noted for their internet,
Awful.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And the good news is, though, there is some hope for internet in America, as the Senate did vote against the FCC changes, but that's just one of the 2 things we need to have happen. By the way, really important, I know there's probably a good chance, but if you're an American and you're watching this, try to help out with the net neutrality issue if you can. It's very important for esports in general, especially for esports in America, but that's a whole different topic that we can talk about some other time, Jenkins.
Oh, yeah, we could certainly get into that. That's a whole sphere we could get into, with like distributed stuff and cryptocurrencies and
there's so much we could talk about, but
there's so much.
Right now there's some interesting picks. Brax said on Twitter pretty recently that he thought it was like TI3 all over again with IO Gyrocopter. I think it was TI3. I can't remember which one.
Oh yeah, he said, IO Gyrocopter, best combo.
I mean, it seems pretty good. The IO changes are significant. Specifically, insane. They changed the BKB thing, I think, right? With IO Tether, you can tether now with BKB, I believe, is what they changed about it.
Yeah, so like the major change, like you can tether with BKB. Tether has no cooldown, so you can be permanently tethered to somebody. You get the movement speed of the tether target. So if you're tethered to like a gyro who gets ridiculous movement speed from his talents and just isn't naturally as a hero, you get that movement speed as IO. So you literally don't even need boots on the hero. You tether to Gyro, he gets the Aghanim Scepter because of the level 15 talent on IO. And then also the spirits, they slow now. They apply the slow and Tether doesn't. And the spirits are just insane. They also do way more damage now.
Yep.
So like the heroes just I mean the buffs were I don't want to say too much because like it's Dota, everything is overbuffed to the point of oblivion that everything is just good. You know, and it's like, oh, this really broken thing is against this really broken thing, so they're not broken. Both Wisp, it was a lot at once. You know, it was a lot.
Man, that's it's pretty crazy, right? Like, it seems pretty good. This hero right now, it makes me want to play IO, despite the fact that I am not a good IO player.
Now, this hero is actually it's good, and it's a lot. I think Crit on Twitter said that he thinks that Ice Frog made Wisp like a low skill hero, like it was a really high skill cap hero, and now it's a low skill hero. And I'm kind of inclined to agree that it's a lot easier to play now, just because like if you hit somebody with one of your spirits, it sets up for all of the other spirits and just like perma slows somebody. It's pretty ridiculous, and they do a lot of damage now. So like Wisp actually does damage as a hero, and it's kind of like the way I see it, where they took Pudge and they like nerfed the hook, but then they made Dismember really good. So Pudge is actually a good hero, but not because of like the most interesting mechanic, which is the hook. And I can kind of see his point with the Wisp, where it's like, okay, Wisp is good, but not really for like the Wisp reasons where you're like, oh, Wisp is going to relocate around the map. That's crazy stuff. It's not really about the relocates anymore.
No.
Like, it's almost barely used. Like it's not like it was previously, where the relocates it was all about the relocates. Now it's just like the hero just does a lot of other stuff that's insane.
That's why you used to pick the hero. You have split pushing heroes, and then you have the two heroes that are tethered, the IO and whatever, the gyrocopter in this case. They come to a fight, relocate. Big reason why that hero was picked a lot back in the day. Now it's about buffing up this gyrocopter, giving him extra move speed, giving him extra, damage with overcharge.
Slowing for him, too.
Yeah, exactly. The slows with the spirits, pretty big now. IO's in a much better spot than, and of course, relocate is still big, but it's not just a gimmicky. I don't know if it was ever a gimmicky hero, but in certain circumstances, it always felt like that. But
it was pretty like Wisp was just a walking relocate, to be honest. That's kind of how Wisp felt. There's even players that would literally play Wisp sitting in trees and just relocate somebody out and split push. Like, there were people that played like that, and it was good. Yeah, that was like broken,
The hero, you're still going to see these flashy relocate saves that are really big, and that's another, that's cool. But I like IO Gyrocopter seems to be a pretty strong combination, Irocopter, if you will. And
I like it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how good this is.
Or gyro.
Gyro? Isn't that just gyro?
Gyro.
Gyro?
Yeah.
Input, output, gyrocopter.
Gyro.io.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
All right.
We talked a lot about the IO and the gyrocopter. We have literally not discussed anything else. Beastmaster, Jakiro, two pretty strong heroes. They have decent push. Of course, Beastmaster probably goes for Wild Axes max nowadays.
One of those split pushing heroes that you mentioned, really good with the gyro and IO.
Yes.
I'm mixing that up now.
Yeah, I'm going to mix it up too. It's going to be annoying. But
no.
I also like relocating with the Beastmaster too, because you just relocate and roar, and that hero's probably dead if you have like Solar Crest or something like that. Yeah.
And you can put like the Hawk on the back lines of the fight too to catch people coming in after you go for the roar and relocate combo. Like, it gives you really good positioning. Although with that being said, you can have all the vision in the world and all the setup in the world, but you're playing against like a Night Stalker who has this just insane vision reduction. Nature's Prophet is going to be split pushing a lot, and then Death Prophet who can just like barrel down your towers and also split push. There's definitely heroes to work with on the side of Signify to deal with this combo of kind of doing like the Beastmaster split pushing with three heroes and the IO relocate. They have ways to deal with it.
I think I'm a little worried about lockdown against an IO and a gyrocopter. They're, of course, together, they're very speedy. They can get out of troublesome situations. They're really just a void. Sprout's going to be useless if they buy Quelling Blades or Tangos or anything. Dark Willow has Curse Crown, and that's the big thing. It's going to be Curse Crown. Yeah.
Dark Willow kind of has lockdown. It's weird lockdown.
If they can get some Bramble Mazes and Curse Crowns off, they probably find some of these kills. But I think the IO and the Gyrocopter are just going to run rampant in a lot of these fights. And even Alina too is very fast in move speed. She can run around and just throw up spells, and that might be a problem. So
yeah, especially with like the Gyro BKB when that eventually comes out, there's not anything. There's nothing. There's nothing to lock him down.
They need something here with it. They have both their supports theoretically. I've seen Nature's Prophet played as a support a lot recently. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case and they do a Night Stalker off lane, but I'm not sure that's going to be the case. They need a safe laner right now, and it's going to be the Slar coming out. So that does provide some lockdown in pounds.
Yeah, that's something. That's definitely something they can like munch on the the hero that Wisp is tethering. Like it kind of makes it so you're like, hey Wisp, go ahead, buff this person up, make it so they take a lot less damage. I don't care because I'm gonna get more stacks. So Slark is pretty good against Wisp for that reason. And then also, like, you have all that movement speed on Gyro and Wisp. Does Slark really care? No, because he can just pounce you.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but tell me your honest thoughts, because personally, it's hard for me not to favor Boom ID, specifically because they're a team that I've seen play well recently. They're against a team that I haven't really watched in Signify. I'm not trying to be prejudiced or anything, but, like, what do you think in terms of the draft and in terms of the chances for both of these teams?
Well, okay. I think that the IO Gyro is a pretty ridiculous combo. Like, I think IO is pretty, like, high rated.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, people think that it's good, and I still think that it's not rated high enough. Like, I think that IO is really, really, really ridiculously good right now, and people just think it's good.
Okay.
So I'm a pretty big fan of this IO hero right now. Even for pubs, like, you can just stomp pubs with it, I think. And I really like the fact that all of these heroes combo together really, really well. And like we were saying, I'm pretty worried about the fact that Signify don't have much to actually lock down these heroes. And it looks like Beastmaster IO going into the off lane. That's also kind of a classic laning combo. You just give him mana, he spams the axes. Feels like the axes just never stop coming.
I love this dual lane setup from Boom ID. I think IO Beastmaster is pretty strong. I think they have Gyro, which is also kind of insanely strong in terms of the damage you can pump out.
That's another one of those, like, dual lanes where if the Gyro get a little bit ahead, it'll feel like they're a lot ahead. And Signify will have a lot of problems.
We did see in game one the Gyrocopter versus Nature's Prophet, where the Nature's Prophet has Treants and he kind of blocks some of the Rocket Barrage damage, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world for the Gyro, but, maybe it's something. And they're going to fight, it looks like, at least in the top lane. Dual Breath comes out, but KSQ taking some damage. It's going to be 2 aside, it looks like, unless somehow this Dark Will gets in there, but she's not going to, so.
It's so hard to fight into those Treants. And then Night Stalker is, like, 4 armor hero with 2 mangoes and 5 base regen. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, it's really hard to fight into this lane. This is another one of those lanes where there's no particular reason where these 2 heroes combo together really well at first glance, but then you realize, oh, they're just, like, really, really efficient early game heroes that are just being thrown into the off lane. They're really, really tanky, and they hit hard. So they're just going to do well together. There's no, like, insane, like, oh, you set up for this with this. There's nothing like that. It's just like, yeah, both of these heroes are really annoying. Really tanky.
That's going to be frustrating. Already the flat cannon coming out at level 1. They're going to deny some of the Treants. Signify comes in with Mr. Crowl getting off a Void. It is going to be the core Night Stalker, though, trying to get some early levels. Down bottom is, I think, going to be a troublesome lane. Blizzard already has the tower getting pushed in, so the wave... They actually glyph.
They forward it. That's so annoying.
So this is going to be even better, I think, because now another wave's going to come under the tower. They're already doing damage to the tier 1, so...
Dude, I'm glad to see other offlaners pulling that glyphing BS.
I've never seen that before, I think. That's kind of interesting.
Haven't? It's really good to do on Axe when you battle hunger somebody and they try to go for a last hit and you glyph it.
Oh, yeah.
That's why people are... I guarantee you, if you look at this Beastmaster's history, he's got, like, about 10 Axe games.
I wouldn't be surprised.
In the last 20.
I think Axe is insane in pubs right now.
That hero's insane. Was it banned in this? Or
I don't know. I have no idea. We could go back and check, but I'm not sure. I haven't seen it picked. Well, obviously in this tournament, it's just our second series, but I haven't seen it picked that much. Either it's banned a lot or it's just not picked a lot in pro games, which is, I think, not true. I think it's probably banned a lot.
It wasn't really picked a lot in...
MDL?
MDL, yeah. It was picked 10 times and never really touched in terms of bans.
I think it's one of those really strong pub heroes. He kind of gets eaten alive if he's not in a dual lane. If he has, like... He can kind of have a rough lane for the first few levels. He's really bad at last hitting you. Like Quelling Blade needed almost kind of bad until you get, like, levels in your spin. Like, he only has, like, 60 base damage, which is really bad for a strength hero. So he doesn't get the most last hits.
It can feel pretty hard to get those last hits. Like, the level 1 spin can really screw you up, too.
Yeah.
You just get denied. It doesn't do a lot of damage, too, so it doesn't get you those last hits.
I do like going level 1 Battle Hunger. I kind of like... I want to try maxing Battle Hunger just because Slacks does it, and it seems interesting, and I bet you could probably get some kills with it, but man...
Zai does it. He goes Phase Boost Battle Hunger build.
Does he?
Yeah. That's not to say... I mean, he also does, like, ridiculous shit with Pudge, too. Like,
yeah.
He does some meme
He's
stuff.
one of the crazier Euro players. Joka might be in trouble. This is going to be a Fairy Fire, Tether move speed. He has a salve, but he's dead anyway. Blizzard really chased him down. He has 7 Essence Shift stacks, and Lucas needs to get the hell out of dodge. He actually almost walked into that Bramble Maze. He's still walking around it somehow, not actually connecting on it, but that's a pretty big kill for Blizzard down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, that's surprising. You don't usually see a Slark who's getting aggro dual laned with a dual lane kill somebody. Wispa, I think he actually could have salved there, but he was a little afraid
it was dangerous.
That the Slark would just cancel it.
Yeah, exactly. So that, yeah, I thought this IO Beastmaster lane would be much better. I guess it's still pretty early where you don't have enough level in axes. You're, a melee hero, so you don't do that much. But they're actually kind of stopping the Gyro from farming top. And Mr. Crowl is. They have Alina with DD and Ned, and she's having a great time, which I guess is to be expected.
I'm actually not sure who wins this matchup. I would imagine it's Lina. I'm terrible with these mid matchups.
Yeah.
I always go mid against like somebody who can play mid at all. Like I was playing against what does he call himself now? Eric Dong, Susie. What does he call himself?
Ryoya, yeah.
I was Storm and he was Lina, and I think he was like at one point he was like 4 levels ahead of me. I couldn't do anything. I thought that was a decent matchup for Storm, but it felt awful.
That's okay. You're an offlaner, and that's a tough match. First of all, we played against 747 the other day when we played Battle Cup. It was not fun. He actually destroyed. I was playing Lifestealer. He was playing offlane Wind Ranger, and he absolutely destroyed me.
He's really good. He's really good at Dota.
Yep.
It's so funny. Just feeding him relentlessly.
They cut down the tree's bottom. They were looking for the Slark. He actually had to TP out. That's pretty big. That's a lot of time wasted for this. In fact, no chance is dead. The Spirits comes out. He's got Shadow Realm. He just needs to hit him with one more Spirit, and he does. The Shadow Realm does do a lot of damage, but Yoakum is fine. He doesn't have a salve. He might need to send one out, but the Courier is not back at the base, so this is a little dangerous. They glyph.
Slark just walks back to the lane. That's
yeah, because he TP'd out, so he can't.
That's a lot of XP. Missed.
Exactly. That's what I was. Yeah, I mean, not having that TP is critical.
That is rough for him. That's basically the first blood is negated. The Beastmaster is getting some levels now, and he's gonna have these axes. Like it's gonna be a hard lane again.
They're coming top with the Dark Willow now that she's respawned. It is nighttime, but there's a ward that is going to spot her, and in fact, it does spot her. I don't think they pinged her up, but they should know. And in fact, FBZ and Kezcute are gonna back themselves up to the tower. I'd be surprised
really nice
if they die
timing.
here. Yeah, I mean, it's smart. It's like at 350 rotating top, the only issue is the ward is there, and obviously they're not going to see your bottom either, so.
Yeah, and then just died as well, so it's like, well, kind of perfect timing.
So they really want to die, but it's actually Mr. Crowl that's getting run at by this Kezcute Jakiro. They also get off the homing missile. He's going to get off the Void, but neither will die. Nobody's going to die for now, but that's still a lot of harassment being placed onto these heroes in the top lane for the Radiant.
I like that they're playing the slow game up here on the side of Boom, like realizing that if they just try to run into the enemies and just duke it out, they'll lose that fight. But if they slowly get the flat cannons off and slowly whittle them down with the dual breast, like they can actually kill them if it's like a, if they're at like 40%, 60% HP, they could actually potentially go for a kill. Like if they keep them at that threshold where they're too low, to be super aggressive with like the Night Stalker, then they can actually get farm in this lane. It's arguably even better to leave them low than to kill them, so they can just farm in this. With this aggro dual lane in front of them.
It's going a lot better than I think I would have anticipated after the earlier stages of the game where they were kind of getting run at. Now there's 3 heroes top. It's like they're actually getting farm. This was if they had the IO rotate up, if they took a fight too, they might be able to win that one.
Oh, that is true actually. I guess there's always that fear that the IO can just TP right into the tower, as we see he might do
First
here.
Crown, are they going to dive this? This might be a heavy dive. They're not going to go for it. Homing missile hits onto Mr. Crowl, and that means that this gyrocopter will survive with no issues. He has an Akil, I think, coming out right now, and the Clarity. He was out of mana, but not for much longer. And he'll just flak down the wave, including the Treants. So this is suddenly pretty good for Boom ID. They have, essentially, Luca's getting free farm bottom now because they took the Dark Willow out of the lane, and now it's just Blizzard. The Lina is beating the DP pretty handedly by 10 CS, so even more than that, actually. It's really going well for this Boom ID team, even if they're not getting the most farm of the Gyrocopter. But here comes the Night Stalker, level 3 looking for Yoakum. He does have the raindrops. The slow coming out, but the Dark Willow hits off the Shadow Realm with one more ranged auto attack for Mr.
Oh,
Crowl.
Beastmaster has no TP.
Yeah, he's dead too. The Curse Crown is going to almost certainly secure the kill, and it will. It's the tower that actually gets the last hit. That was the exact rotation they needed, because otherwise this laning phase has not been going the best for them.
Yeah, that's I actually thought that was an offlane Night Stalker. That's actually Yeah, right. Okay.
Wait, so the
It's
Nature's
an
Prophet's getting
offlane
farmed?
Nature's Prophet. And it's a roaming Night Stalker, so that wasn't a core rotation. I was worried. It's like, okay, well maybe that's a core rotation, so there's an argument there, but no, just a Night Stalker offlane. Or sorry, Night Stalker. Jeez, what am I saying? Night Stalker 4 roll.
Yes. I got what you were saying. I see what you're... I'm picking up what you're putting down.
That's good. That's good, because I'm throwing it all over the table.
No. That means that this Nature's Prophet is pretty farmed, actually.
Yeah, he's huge.
This laning phase is not as bad as I thought it was now that I realize that he is, in fact, an offlaner. They're actually doing pretty well here, all things considered.
Okay,
TP blocked. That's pretty
dead?
funny. Yeah, he's dead. Unless he can make the Rocket Brush didn't do enough damage. He's actually surviving because the Rocket Brush didn't do anything. I thought he would have died there.
There's the treants you talked about.
Yeah, exactly. Blocking the damage of the Rocket Barrage, which is pretty big. If he dies there, it's a lot of gold going the way of the gyro, but that's not the case.
Yeah. God, this Nature's Prophet build where people go for the just kind of like stat items with phase boots, and then they go for the double robe of Magi building into the Orchid. It just feels like this hero does so much damage. He's level 4 mod, and he does 100 and something damage. I'm not going to do that math.
Well, I see what you're saying. That's a kill onto no chance. By the way, you remember the triple Null Talisman build?
Oh yeah, the classic.
The
and
good
then
old
blade
days.
mail.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yep. It was blade mail. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting build. It's like, well, this hero's hitting for 200 at 10 minutes. That's pretty legit.
It was so broken. He did so much damage. He already had high base damage before that, and you get triple Null Talisman for like 1,500 gold, and you're just like, I hit like a truck now. Enjoy.
Yeah, and then you can't hit him because he'll just Nature's Prophet TPing mid lane.
Makoto. Oh, if he survived that, I would have been shocked. They rotated almost their entire team for that kill, but they did get it, and now they might be able to put some pressure onto the tier 1 mid.
That's actually like, if I see a Lina mid, a lot of the time I'll pick a Nature's Prophet off lane because Lina just can't do anything against a Nature's Prophet. You can stun out of the Sprout, but then you've used your stun to get out of Sprout, and it's so bad. And she's so squishy. It's such an easy kill. Slark actually gets a solo kill on the Wisp.
He might have had an Invis rune. I'm not sure. This tower looks to fall. One maybe deny, potentially not there. Swifty does too much damage with the Death Prophet Exorcism. She's going to heal momentarily. Even if she was to get chased down, she would probably still survive.
Dissolve too.
That last minute of action for Signify, I think, is critical. You know, that last minute changes this game from, you know, Boom Idea are kind of getting out of control on their heroes to, okay, well, we're still on this. Although Blizzard is getting chased down and he has no Shadow Dance. He does have a Pounce, but Spirits, is it going to be enough? The axes are there, and it will be. And they actually cancel the TP, which was, I think, the DP about to come in. Yeah.
I love this phase boots on Beastmaster. It's just, you do so much damage because you amplify with the axes, and then you have the medallion, which also amplifies the axes, and oh man, it just, and then also he's like he's one of the few heroes who still has that movement speed buff on his talents.
Yep.
Just feels like the perfect boots for this hero.
Mr. Crow is in some trouble. That is a nice ice path. Not that it was pretty easy to hit. And they get the Rocket Barrage off. That's a nice kill. And Lucas needs to be a little careful. In fact, he sees the Slark coming. They have a ward at the shrine. Of course, they're going to know this is here now. They're going to probably deward it.
Here's the issue with having your only stun. Well, really, your only real. I mean, is it even real stun? The Night Stalker slow. I mean, there's just so little TP cancel that the Beastmaster can just sit down in this bottom lane and be such an obnoxious player and do whatever he wants down here. Actually, as I said, he moves towards the middle lane.
This is the IO tether, and even with the Shadow Realm, he's able to stay alive somehow. Rocket Barrage hitting into Mr. Crow. This is dangerous. FBZ trying to go back in. The axes snipe him from long range. Kescute's got to get sprouted. He's got to break it down. They've got the Macro Pyre drop. Negi's going to have to walk himself to safety. And then down bottom, Blizzard is just trying to split push and get his Shadow Blade, which he's not quite at yet. And they're going to take the Tier 1 tower. And that IO save, if that IO's not there, FBZ is almost certainly dead, and that's a big kill if they can get it. But no,
that's such a value regen rune. He's still got it going. He saved right at the start of the fight with that, and it's still going right at the end. That could not be more value.
IO tether, great stuff.
Oh, another reason IO is actually really good right now is because Bottle heals for more. It literally just got buffed, so it heals for more, and the bounty runes fill up 3 charges, although you are missing those every 2 minutes getting those 2 charges, but it heals for more. So like in a fight, if you're in a fight, IO literally does more in terms of healing with the bottle.
You know, if you want more bounty runes, just play mutation mode. That mode with super runes is ridiculous. Every 30 seconds you get 2 bounty runes. It's insane.
Is that what the mutation is right now?
I don't know about right now, but it has been previously. Exorcism, Laguna Blade, Signify. That was not the play. The IO tether comes in. They really wanted FBZ. They could not find it. Negi and Mr. Krell have to back away. The good news is they only lose the Death Prophet. The bad news is she used her ult in order to try to take that fight, but she ran in on her own. She needs a Yule, she needs Aeon Disc. She can't just run in like that, otherwise the fight essentially ends, especially if you see the Lina there.
Yeah, Lina pretty effective against the Death Prophet. Same with the Gyro. You can just melt her before her spirits even come out to hit anybody. They take kind of a decent amount of time to actually start hitting people. She actually TPs to the top lane.
They're going to go again.
It's not night. Oh, actually.
It just turns night now. Now night for 4 minutes. They want to try to initiate with Mr. Krall, but already backing up his Boom ID. They realize the timing. They're not going to overcommit for the Tier 1 tower, despite it being, you know, only a third of HP left. It's a good idea for them to sit back and just play safe, especially with the Lina rotating mid. So it's a 2K lead right now, Jenkins, and I think they're going to have to rely on the Slark Shadowblade in order to get some work done, because right now they're not really finding the initiation otherwise.
Yeah, and I was actually going to say, the Beastmaster is doing a really, really good job right now. You'd be really tempted if you're in a pub and you're this Beastmaster to run to your team and be like, okay, I'm strong, my team is strong, you know, let's run at them with my hero. Like, I don't want to you know, be somewhere else. My team gets wiped. That sounds awful. But what he's doing is he's actually sitting in the bottom lane, which is making it a lot less safe for Slark to just passively farm that Shadowblade. So that timing is going to come a lot later. And Beastmaster basically just knowing that he can get a lot off of the map because he can just farm super quickly with those axes, and this whole area is open for him. And then he's also making it so the Slark has a lot less space to farm. And like you said, that Shadowblade timing is really, really important. Yeah. And obviously recognizing that he sits in the bottom lane and just pressures. This also means somebody has to constantly respond to this. Like, they go for a smoke right now, and the Beastmaster goes and pushes the bottom lane, and they're either forced to fight the smoke or take damage on this tower. You know, it's like they have a choice to make here.
It's a pretty good timing window for the Beastmaster. You're absolutely right about stopping the Slark getting room to farm. So now the Slark, he's playing with his team, and I don't think he really wants to do that right now.
He does not want to do that. It's like so much slower. And then Boom just positions to take this bottom tower, which the Beastmaster has already set up for.
It is going to be a trade.
Yeah.
Which actually, it's a Tier 1 and a Tier 2 for just a Tier 2 for Boom ID. So this is actually not that bad for Signify if they get the Tier 2, which they should. I mean, they have Exorcism going right now. They could try to TP and take a fight. They have Relocate. I don't think it's the best idea. Might see a Tier 2 get dropped to the mid lane instead.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going for it because they know Exorcism is down. So yeah. Like, screw it. They're not going to fight us.
I should be surprised that they didn't fight there. I know they're fighting into Exorcism. They don't really want to do that. But with how they've won the last few fights, I'm kind of surprised they didn't go for it.
They couldn't set up in time with everybody.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
They would have trickled in. It just would have been dangerous. So they're like, screw it. Let's just get a trade, and then we'll fight them afterwards.
Yeah. It is nighttime, which is another reason. Mr. Krall's going to get roared, probably, unless he gets silenced. He couldn't get off the animation in time. The animation takes a little too long. Blizzard's coming in. He's got his Shadowblade. It's time to go. The IO, they have the Fear coming out now. Oh, my God. It hit on 5 heroes. That's insane.
Oh,
Beastmaster is probably dead. Yep.
What a combo.
Yep.
That's actually really cool. With the you sprout one, fear the rest. That's pretty cool.
They all rotate to try to help him out, and every single one of them got feared.
Yeah.
5-man fear seems pretty strong. They ran like back to essentially right here by the time the fear was done. It's kind of insane.
And then the sprout held one in place. Like, that's actually a super cool combo. I didn't think of it. Obviously, somebody's feared's not going to cut the sprout. So it's like it kind of makes it so that the fear is kind of like a pseudo roar.
Yeah.
Like almost a better roar if you can get the sprout off.
It's true.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
I think that fight could have actually turned around. They had Relocate. The IO, of course, was in the fear. Had he not been there, he probably can save the Beastmaster. He's very tanky. It's not like he died that quickly. But obviously, that's, you know, easier said than done.
It's pretty cool because he actually feared him out of the tether range. He was tethered, and I'm pretty sure he was...
Yes, exactly.
You know,
you're exactly right.
Bottling and stuff. Like, that's pretty cool. I don't even... I mean, that's an interesting combo. I've never seen that before. I'm just interested to... I'm wondering if, like, that's specifically something that they set up for, or if they just, like, wanted these heroes for other reasons, and then they realized, like, oh, that's a pretty cool combo.
I think it's more of the latter, where they just kind of figured out about it, you know, in, like, when they started playing.Maybe they've played this lineup before, too, is another thing. But I wouldn't be surprised if the IO stays a little farther away now, or, like, in the back lines on a different target, because he was tethered to the Beastmaster, and I know they were thinking they could turn that fight with Relocate, but...
Because other than that, does it really seem like there's not much to single target to save from on the side of Signify? Like single target lockdown. So as an IO, you're kind of like, whatever. But really, there kind of is with this combo.
Well, it's something we'll have to keep in mind. I'm not sure if that's going to happen again. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. In the meantime, Beastmaster's trying to split push, although he might be in trouble. Although Mr. Kral's not going for it. I think he does have Darkness. No, it's on cooldown for 18 seconds. Maybe if they had that, they'd probably go aggressively.
Where's Beastmaster's Hawk at, man? If he had a Hawk, he'd be a free... There's a free
Night
bat
Stalker kill
in the woods.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
It's an easy kill. He hasn't really utilized this Roar Necro combo. He's got Necro 2 now.
This is...
They just haven't been able to get it off.
We saw Shadowblade instead of first item Necro in the last series with Clutch Gamers. That's what they built instead of going Necrobook. And I kind of liked it because he went for the max axes build. So by the time he had his Shadowblade, he was only getting into like level 2 wild axes.
Yeah.
I'm not that I don't like Necro in this hero, so I think Necro on Beastmaster's still pretty insane, but
I definitely think against a lot of heroes, like going for the Shadowblade first, if you just don't necessarily need the damage and you just need the pickoff, which in this game, like if you can roar the Slark out of the Shadowblade, it's actually pickoff for the Slark, which they don't really have other than that. So yeah, no, I definitely agree with you that this would be a nice...
Terrorize getting casted, decides to be channeled and canceled, and they decide not to go for the fight. That's a smart back, I think, from Signify. That could have been really bad. Blizzard wasn't there either, and I think that's the issue. He's probably saying, don't fight, don't fight, don't fight in that situation.
He leaped over the hill. He was like, all right, guys, like, just wait, I'm coming.
Yeah, it's so tricky when you're in that situation as a carry. You try to let your team know as best as possible, I am not there. That is probably the most commonly used phrase I have when I play Dota. I'm not there when I play
I'm
carry.
not there.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. That was an Orchid, too, and he still got the kill. That's pretty rough. Mikoto, spelled with an I.
What's the net worth looking like? Oh, Lena is huge.
Yeah, she's big, but she's actually kind of tied with this Slark. Slark has surprisingly got a lot of net worth. It's not like he farms that slowly, but usually he gets a lot of his gold from getting kills, and he's right now only got 3 of them. So
yeah,
good terrorize into the Roche pit, but that's down now. They don't get a kill off of it either, and no chance. Died almost to the Necro dying.
They're pretty low though. This is pretty ballsy to go for this.
They have the haste run on Yoakum. Nature's Wrath is going to come out.
That's pretty good. I think they can actually fight this.
They're going to try. Neki's back. They wanted to use his death to their advantage to try to take Roche. It's easier said than done. Mr. Kral coming in. It's not nighttime. They have the haste on the IO and the tether, but now here comes Blizzard. What a wraparound. The Shadow Dance comes in. He's going to buy back and relocate into the fight. Beastmaster might be in trouble as well. They want Blizzard. The Laguna Blade. They get the kill. He's dead for 48. Can they get more out of this? Mr. Kral now backing up Swifty. Yule's up into the air. He's in trouble. The LSA combination is there. They get 2. Can they get anything else? TP from Negi. He's going to get to safety, but the IO buyback does come in handy. Wasn't the, he didn't really do that much of the fight, but him being there helping out FBZ more than enough to get them 2 kills and Roshan now. But in the meantime, yep, Negi's top lane, and he is taking a tier 3 tower. It's not going to die yet, but it's a lot of damage being dealt. And Lucas, if he had walked up or if he had Roar, that would have been a free kill, but it's a smart TP out from the Nature's Prophet.
He knows he doesn't have Roar. It's a lot of damage. I mean, split pushing on Nature, like, you can always win the game split pushing on Nature's Prophet. That's one thing, and he's reminding them of that, like, okay, you guys, you can win the fights, but my hero does this the best. If you're not paying attention, you're gonna get punished for it. So if they screw up like that, and I don't want to say, they didn't screw up. Obviously, they got Roshan, but if they let him push like that again, they lose this tier 3, and then the shrines are available, and the map is just so limited for them on the side of Boom.
Yeah.
So they actually have to be pretty careful, because if you're limiting your map against a Night Stalker and Slark, I mean, it gives me, like, chills just saying that. Like, I would hate to be on that team,
Yeah, we saw it last game against the Slark, that they just couldn't do anything. Once they lost some of those tier 2 towers and the tier 1 towers, it became really difficult. And in spite of having a 4K lead, this is still a lot of map control going the way of the Radiant. In fact, it looks like the Beastmaster might be dead. They're going to TP in with the Nature's Prophet. He has a Necro 3. He does use the Necro. He's going to get Orchided. He's still dead anyway. They relocate in, and the Tether almost comes out. They'll secure 1. The Laguna Blade, all right, that's probably worth it, considering they also got a 3rd kill on the Night Stalker elsewhere.
I wouldn't imagine that would be a good relocate with the Lena, but it was.
Well, he used the Shadow Dance early when the Necrobook came out, and once that's down and he doesn't have Shadow Blade, you get a Laguna and you're just dead.
It's just hard to orchestrate, where it's like, okay, Lena, he used this, you can stun here on his, like, Shadow Dance. It's just, but it all worked out.
Yeah, it was a strange relocate to be. Yeah, Lena IO seems tricky, to say the least.
It's a weird duo, but he's got the Aegis, so they feel like, okay.
Mr. Crowl needs to be
safe.
careful. Hooded Defiance will keep him tanky for now. They've got the usage of that Terrorize, and it will come out, and might actually turn this fight around. IO Tether still trying to heal up, but he's got the overcharge. That's a sick LSA that hits on it, too. The dual breath coming out as well, and Swifty's in trouble. Makoto gets a double kill. Swifty might be the triple that they're looking for, and it is, and now a monster kill spree as well. And just like that, this game has gotten out of control. They even find a 4th kill. It is now an 8K lead, and they will almost certainly try to push high ground with the wave coming back in. Although the Treants are going to try to cut the wave, so there's at least that.
Every time I look at this Lina, he has an inventory that's like, all right, that's a reasonable inventory, and then he's like sitting on 4,000 gold. It's like, wait a minute, that's a lot of money. You know?
He just likes to have cash. I understand, you know?
It's because he's just killing everybody.
It's true. He has 6 kills and 3 assists. That's he's been involved in 9 of the 16 kills on his team. This Rax is dead. They can't buy back on... I mean, they could buy back on the DP, but the Nature's Prophet wasn't there anyway. They did have Exorcism, but that is a... God, Lina pushes so quickly, especially when you beast faster. He might... Yeah, they're going to go back in. Mr. Krowl's just dead at. I mean, this Night Stalker is just... Even with how tanky he is, with how much HP and a Hooded Defiance, he still dies pretty much instantly. They get the Pound Leash, but Blizzard needs to be careful. They actually get off the IO Tether. I cannot believe Makoto is alive right now. Exorcism will go. It's not going to last for long, though. This isn't going to be enough damage, and Swifty's dead. And that'll probably be it for this game.
Dude, Makoto's actually just a god at Lina. Like, he's stunning, just consistently stunning this Slark. Like, it's not easy to stun a Slark with the Lina at all. Like, he's super fast. He can pounce. He can Dark Pact it off. I mean,
he's playing like a god for sure.
He's just playing like an absolute god. He's just really, really good at this hero.
God.
And also destroying that lane. I'm pretty sure Death Prophet versus Lina isn't like.
It shouldn't be that favored. I agree. I think he's just really good. Makoto has done a nice job. This is the Lina game you dream of having. You have an IO Tether helping you out. You have already a ton of damage on your team. So it's not just like you providing all the damage. It's everybody else.
Yeah. So if he lands anything, he'll just slaughter whoever it is.
I mean, we haven't even really talked about the Gyrocopter this game. He has a BKB now, but he's not been the issue, I think, in a lot of these fights. It's pretty much everybody else.
Yeah, he's kind of just like pulsating with damage while...
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, don't worry, guys. I'll just do some damage. Everybody else is like bursting people down. He's just kind of like a blender.
Yeah, that's probably a fair statement, a fair analogy. I gotta say too, the Death Prophet, usually when I see DPs...
Like a mouse in a blender.
God, I don't want to hear that.
I'm sorry.
The Death Prophet usually just feels like if you pop ult on Death Prophet, you at least get a lot of damage. You maybe don't get kills, but you feel like you're doing something. I should say, like, Death Prophet usually feels like she does something in a game. In this game, I've not felt that at all.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I feel like we talked about it. There's a bit of a lockdown issue. Like, the Death Prophet is not a hero who can just run in and kill people as they're running away. It's pretty easy to run away from the Exorcism. There's not a lot of lockdown, and then he's also getting bursted, and he didn't have a great early game because this Lina was just playing so well. So, like, all of these things added together, you just end up having a Death Prophet that feels useless, even though it's just kind of the situation that he's been thrown into.
You know, and I feel like another big thing is you're right about her running in. I think they just need a lockdown hero or initiation hero, you know, something not a Nature's Prophet. Blizzard on the back line's getting fought by Lucas. He's going to have to use a Shadow Dance. Makoto coming in has a couple of auto attacks. It looks like Blizzard will get away, but the rest of the team is dying to this Gyrocopter. I'm not dead yet, though. All of them are still alive. The Tier 3 tower has been taken. Blizzard's coming back in after regenning on the sidelines with the Shadow Dance, trying to find a way into the fight. He's going to find Lucas. This could be big if they can get the kill on the Beastmaster, and it looks like they're going to. The IO relocate was there, but of course he was tethered onto the Gyrocopter, and I mean, he could have changed, but it was too late because Blizzard did too much damage. If they can kill Makoto, it would be absolutely gigantic. They do have the IO tether. Relocate is still available. The Sprout comes in. That's a roar. They're turning this around. Good Terrorize, and now the Lina's out of it, and she's in trouble. The rest of her team is just running because of that Terrorize, and now Makoto is going to have to use that Bloodstone. She's back in 20. The rest of them getting low. Finally, this Death Prophet ulti feels like it's doing something. They're all extraordinarily low. Finally, they relocate back in with Yokum. They're going to find one of the kills, maybe even two with Swifty. He's pretty tanky. He's got the double Spirit Siphon, and maybe they can get FBZ. They can't. Somehow, this IO Tether is keeping him alive like crazy, and he's actually back into the rest of the fight. They will finally get the kill onto the IO with Blizzard, who has used the Shadow Dance. Beastmaster is here. He pops the Necro, and he is out of mana. And Blizzard has to run, but I don't think there's any way he gets out of this. They get off the Purge. Blizzard is dead. GG is called.
It's GG.
And that is it for Game 1. And Boom ID looked very good throughout this game.
Yeah, I mean, that